grow their business and sidestep all of the crazy things that I seem to step on. We have a new part to the show this week. It's called Extreme Close-Up. Here we go. Hope you enjoyed that. You know, we're alone and we go crazy in here. So, you know, I don't know. I'm an idiot. Anyways, welcome to, if you're still watching and you didn't run away in fear of a guy being absolutely nuts, welcome to Fiverr Friday. These episodes are completely geared to helping you grow your business on Fiverr. I give you a little bit of a spiel, and then you get a chance to ask me questions, make comments, strike up a conversation about Fiverr in hopes to help you grow your business. Today, I don't know. I'm playing with this thing. I'm like, wee, it's extreme close up. I don't know. I got nothing. That's my cameraman. I'm my own cameraman. So anyways, today I want to talk to you about commercial and broadcast rights and, you know, trying to help you make some more money on Fiverr. I think if you're already on Fiverr and you're already making money or you're wanting to make money, a section on Fiverr that's really overlooked a lot, especially when you're just starting out, is the extras. And that's probably because, too, when you're just starting out, you a lot of times you don't even know really what they are, or do you offer them, what do you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, there's so many questions. And there's also a lot of misinformation or, different, what should I do with commercial rights, broadcast rights? What do they actually mean, et cetera, that kind of stuff. So, I think it's kind of one of those things where I wanted to take some time to talk about it. Also, I did want to point out something, and I saw this the other day. Last Friday, for some reason, some of the chats and some of the questions were not coming through. So basically the platform I use is called Restream, and it allows me to stream to multiple platforms, YouTube, Facebook, as well as Twitter. But the issue is that sometimes Facebook especially changes up some things. So does all of the platforms. And when they do that, if the Restream or whatever doesn't keep up, sometimes it messes up, and I can't always see everything. So I apologize if you do post something and I don't see it. But anyways, getting back to what we're talking about, commercial and broadcast rights and the goal of making you more money. So first off, let's talk about these and what they are. The bread and butter of your business on Fiverr, or any quite frankly, any business and voiceover, is the payment for intellectual rights. Okay, and this has probably been a massive contested opinion about Fiverr by many other voice actors who don't like Fiverr, is really the non-payment of intellectual property. Because again, in general, when you do a voiceover, okay, traditionally, right, you were paid for a sitting or a session, and then after you pay for a session, whether it was like $100 for an hour or whatever, then you go and charge for intellectual property, right? So you charge for the rights to use your work, like a license or so forth, for a year or something. And that's paid outright to you, or you're paid royalties or whatever every time they use it, etc. So there is a gap there between how much you're actually being paid for your work, for like an hour's work, as opposed to then your intellectual property. But Fiverr turned that around and turned it on its head and started charging for words. Now pretty much everywhere is really kind of doing words now. They might say hour, but it's really about words. So, that's kind of not contested anymore. But the idea on Fiverr is that, we're charging per words. That's like a base amount. So think of it this way. Intellectual property, as voiceover artists, we are still charging for those. And you need to charge for that, okay? No matter whether you're on Fiverr or you're not. We're still charging for our intellectual property, our intellectual rights. That is our voiceover, our performance, okay? Once we give that performance, it's intellectual property. We own it. And we have to either let someone buy the right to own our property because it's our voice, okay, or license it from us. So on Fiverr, though, instead of them paying for the time, they pay for a word count, okay? So they've switched the time and the word count. So now if I get paid for 100 words, it doesn't matter whether it takes me an hour or it takes me 5 minutes. I'm going to get paid for 100 words. Okay. However, I still charge for the intellectual property, the right to use my voiceover. That's where commercial rights and broadcast rights come in. Okay. Hopefully you're following me. And it's vital for you to make money on Fiverr, to make good money, to be able to charge these. And I'm going to give you just a quick tactic that I use to get more people to purchase them in a second. But just going on what commercial and broadcast rights stand for on Fiverr, because they can be confusing because the names are confusing to me. Commercial rights do not mean paid commercials. So when someone purchases commercial rights from you on Fiverr, commercial rights are for any type of promotion of a business or a product or a service, okay, on social media, on a business website, on a blog, anywhere where they are promoting their business in a non-paid manner. Meaning that they're posting it to something they own, like they're posting it to their Instagram feed or they're posting it on their website or something. They're not paying to broadcast it out to more people. Okay, that's commercial rights. Now, it's confusing because you would think commercial would mean a commercial, like where someone pays for a commercial, but it doesn't. And quite honestly, that gets people screwed up too, like buyers. All right, which again, on a side note, leads us to the fact too that we want to make sure we're being very explanatory with our gigs and our requirements page so that people understand what these are. Okay, so that's commercial rights. Broadcast rights are just what I said before. They are when someone is paying to broadcast your voiceover, their product, using your voiceover to more people than what they own already, which is their audience. Does that make sense? So basically, we're charging them for the right to reach more people, okay, with our voiceover than what they already own. Does that make sense? So that's broadcast rights. So for me, I want to always make sure that I'm trying my very best to get them to buy out my work. Now, some people, and it's still, like I just literally got a deal where just yesterday where, someone from another platform, not Fiverr, licensed a voiceover from me for a year. Licensing is still a part of, the voiceover world. But on Fiverr, all right, a lot of it's just easier to do the buyout in perpetuity. And when we talk about in perpetuity, you hear that word a lot, right? That means just ongoing, kind of forever. It doesn't have an end date, okay? So when someone buys out that from you, buying commercial rights and broadcast rights, all right, it adds a great deal of money to your order. So when it comes to charging commercial and broadcast rights, what do you charge for them? I like to make sure that I am keeping it to a relation between how much I'm charging for my base price and then how much I'm charging for my commercial and broadcast rights. I want to be clear when I say that just like anywhere else, we all know there are different levels on Fiverr, but there's different levels of clients. If you've been on the platform for any amount of time, you know what I mean. And what I mean by different level of clients, I mean there are still clients, solopreneurs, people who are looking to don't have a big budget and they're trying to get the best service they can for the least amount of money. There are a lot of people on Fiverr for those, but there's also, I'm telling you, bigger and bigger and bigger businesses. Okay, people and businesses with big budgets going on Fiverr too and purchasing work as well. I make now on Fiverr just as much money as I would make charging, industry standard rates if you were. I make more money on Fiverr now. Now it wasn't like that when I started, but it is now as I've built up my business. Okay. And a lot of that has to do because I'm in demand, right? And we've talked on this channel about economics, but just focusing on the broadcast and the commercial rights. The reason why all that is important is because if, for example, you're charging $5 or $10 for your service, you want to make sure you're pricing your commercial and broadcast rights according to that base price. So, for example, if you're charging $5 for 100 words or $5 for 50 words or something, you're not going to want to try to charge, $100 for commercial rights and $250 for buyout rights. I mean, could you do that? Of course, you could put that down, but the likelihood is the people that are going to be buying from you. And I did a video, not yesterday, but the day before, even though the title, in the back part of the video, the 2 days ago, I really talked about the idea with, starting a business from scratch and how we use pricing just like any other business, to entice people to give us a shot because we haven't done anything yet, right? So that's the same thing, when we're talking about Fiverr, right? We're enticing people to give us a shot. We're not going to stay at that price range. We're going to grow and we're going to, raise our price as we get busier, but we want people to give us a shot. But with commercial and broadcast rights, we don't want to make the gap so wide that the people who would be purchasing from us, who are giving us a shot, there's no way in the world they're going to purchase a $5 job from you and then $100 buyout right. Do you see what I'm saying like that? That the gap is so wide there. It would probably, and so what's going to happen is you're never going to sell commercial rights and you're never going to sell broadcast rights. And then you're going to get this idea, well, you know what, maybe I should just put the commercial rights in with my price. So now I don't even charge for commercial rights. I just charge for broadcast rights. That'll be easier because no one's buying commercial rights. A lot of times, I'm not saying that's wrong. And please, if you're doing that and you like that, continue to do it. And I know some people who do it, but I don't do that. I like to make sure that I have the option to let people purchase those rights separately, okay, from me, as well as me to negotiate. But the idea here is that if I'm charging $5 for like 50 words, you know what I mean, and I want to sell a commercial buyout rights, it might be a better idea to charge $15 for those buyout rights, possibly 20. But do you see how the gap of that is not that wide, whereas opposed to $100 is? This isn't about what someone else who's been doing this business for 30 years is charging. This is about where you are with your business right now. Okay, remember that. It's hard sometimes for us to block out all of the noise, but this is where you are with your business right now. Okay, so, and broadcast rights could possibly be like $25 or $30, which is still a decent gap. You might even want to lower it more because I would rather you start making money and upping how much money you're making per order than you having this price and it looks pretty, but no one ever buys it. Okay, you might be in a situation like that right now. For me, what I do is, as I scale my business up, all those prices go up, right? My back end prices of my commercial rights and broadcast rights go up. My base price goes up. By the way, and when you raise your prices, a little tip, only ever raise by $5 at a time. I find that works the best. It's not so much as a shock, especially for repeat customers that you have. But anyways, that's the theory about pricing with commercial and broadcast rights. But to give you a little tip I wanted to tell you about how to use them, utilize them, and make some good money with that is that no matter what I do, when someone messages me for a job, I always include all of it. I include commercial rights and broadcast rights and the base price. So, for example, for 100 words right now, I think I'm charging around $125. Okay, that's how much it costs to do 100 words with me. Right off the bat, that's just how much I quote no matter what. And as they go up, if it's 101 words, it goes up to $155. If it's 200 words or 201 words, it goes up to $185, right? It just continues to go up based off of the base price. But no matter what, I always include the commercial rights and the broadcast rights. When you're starting out, do not be surprised if people are like, what are you doing? Why are you cheating? This is cheating. It's not what your price says. The reason why they're doing that is not because you're doing anything wrong, but it's just because they've come looking for a basement price. That doesn't mean you should not offer it because there are going to be people who don't know any different. They don't even know if they need commercial or broadcast rights. You might even come across people who say, hey, I'm in a different country and I don't need those rights. I don't know if you've heard that. I've heard that plenty of times, right? And it is true where it is true that different countries have different laws. I look at it from the fact is that I get that it's their law, but I'm not a citizen of their country. Where I am, you have to do that. Now, whether that stands up in any legal court of the, an international court or whatever like that, it doesn't matter. In the end, it's your business. See, so here's the thing. When people try to, nail you to the wall too, you don't have to back down. Don't be rude. Always be polite. But just remember, it's your business. So what you charge is what you decide to charge. So I don't go into a grocery store and try to negotiate with them on the price of meat. That would be, you imagine you go into the store and you go to the checkout counter and they're like, all right, that pound of meat's, $6 and some. And you're like, nah, I'm really thinking $3 is the price I want to pay for it. You should do that. I should do that once and see what they look at you like. No, I don't think so. I think $3 is a better price. How about $3.50? Well, that'd be hilarious. But I think that when people do that to us, okay, we have to make a decision. And where we're going to the next part here is when you're posting, when you send out an offer to them based on what I just said, implementing all of it, and they come back to you and they say, well, that's not okay, or that I don't want to pay that. I want to pay this. Your price says this. Why are this is a ripoff, that kind of stuff. I always use that kind of junk, right? Then what you can do is then choose how you want to deal with it. Also, you can decide to say, hey, I totally understand. I wish you the very best. You know what I mean? But I'm currently not offering that rate for this particular job. Or you can offer them to say, okay, hey, yeah, at this time we can do it for this since we're brand new and we're working together. Okay, but next time, when we work together again, I'd like to work out so we can actually pay the full amount for the rights. It gives you, and I find that they always seem to go for that. They always seem to go for that. Right. And because you come out looking like the person who is wanting to be helpful, wanting to work with them, but also it's like a compromise. All right. And it allows you to get the job, to make the money, a little bit of money, even if it's $5. It's making the money. It's getting you the reviews. We've talked about the importance of getting reviews on that platform and getting social credibility altogether. Again, remember those reviews on Fiverr are your reviews. Doesn't matter that it was on Fiverr. Could have been on voices.com. It could have been on Voice123. It could have been on, Upwork. Those reviews are your reviews. Take those reviews, copy them down, put them somewhere because you can use them for your website. And anyways, that's another little side note. But I hope that you kind of understanding this is, I wanted to kind of just give you an idea of the totality of control you have for your business, but also the importance of what you are sending out to people. And the gap between your custom offers, your gig offers, meaning like when someone purchases from you directly as opposed to a custom offer, what is that gap? And, are you making enough money or more money based on your posting these things like commercial rights and broadcast rights together? Interestingly enough, I charge the same no matter where I am. Unless I'm on a platform that has its own pricing structure, I charge the same to my personal clients, all right, through my email marketing that I do. I charge the same on Fiverr. I charge the same on, Upwork. Wherever I go, whatever I'm doing, whatever platform I'm on, I charge the same. Okay, someone finds me on Voice123, I charge the same. Someone finds me on Voices.com, I charge the same. I charge the same no matter where I am. I find that comforting to me, but how I justify it as well is that I always charge the full buyout amount. And then every, set of 100 words after, I charge my base price, which is $30. But see, it wouldn't be the same if I wasn't charging the buyout rights. Does that make sense? So it's important that you add that. And I find that I like charging the same amount across the board because not only does it make it easier for me, but I don't know. I've gotten burned in the past where I was trying to charge more over here and less over here because of this and that. And, people are not dumb. They'll find it and they'll call you on it. It happened to me. Somebody found me on Fiverr and then emailed me. I didn't know they found me on Fiverr. I quoted them industry standard rates and they just tore me a new one that I was a hypocrite for charging this over here and charging them that. And then, I never heard from them again. Whether, I thought that was fair or not, I at least learned a lesson. That was early on in my business, that I would just be better to charge the same everywhere. makes our lives easier, and no one can say to you, hey, you're being, hypocritical or you're scamming me. That's just how I feel about that. All right, you guys. So let's go ahead and take this opportunity to post some questions, some thoughts. At this moment, at this point of the show, if you've got any questions about Fiverr, your account, what's going on, commercial rights, broadcast rights, or comments, or anything, questions revolving around Fiverr, your voiceover business, go ahead and post them now. I'm going to go through here and welcome everybody and say hello. Let's see. We've got Eric Flyer here. What's up? Good to see you, my friend Dana. It's good to have you. Happy Friday. Jeremy, what's up? Hello. Let's see. Daniel, yo, Anthony, I'm a big fan. Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Sean, it's great for you to be here. Was your hat made on Fiverr? No, this is a piece of tape. I literally took a piece of white tape and a green green marker and did it because I don't have any. Now, I'm actually getting some personalized Fiverr stuff and different stuff made for me. That's just going to be mine. I'm not going to sell it because I don't have the right to sell any of that kind of stuff, but just my own gear so I can wear as, because I'm a goofball like that, and why not? So I'll have that stuff, shirts and stuff soon, hopefully. But as we go along, I'll have more gear. But yeah, that's how I made that. Just to have something Fiverr related, because they don't sell anything. You can't buy any stuff with any of that stuff on it. So let's see, voiceover Angela. Hello, Angela. All right, Todd, it's good to have you, my friend. Louise, hello, it's good to have you. Good morning, joining a little late. It's good to have you. Out of work professor, hello, AP. No weird questions from me today, just enjoying the content. Anytime, man. Queen Princess, hey, Anthony, happy Friday. I might have missed the answer, but do customers have to buy both broadcast rights and commercial rights? I had a customer buy broadcast rights, but I wasn't... So the commercial and broadcast rights, the idea is that if they want a full buyout, meaning that they can post it on their social, they can pay for it to be advertised, they're going to need both commercial and broadcast rights. If they just technically want to put it on, just pay for an ad to run, they would then need broadcast rights. But again, this goes back to what you decide for your business. Okay? Because, these words, and what's interesting is if you actually dive into the Fiverr terms of service. Now, by the way, I on the quick note, I think that's important for you to read the terms of service. You might be like, Anthony, what the hell, man? I don't want to read that. I get it. But it's important for you, especially if you want to make hundreds of thousands of dollars on this website a year, which you can, because I, like many others are, you need to read the terms of service. So at least you know your rights and what these things mean and what Fiverr will stand up for you for and they won't. One of the things that's very surprising is the intellectual property section. Fiverr, actually, if you dive into it, you actually are in charge of all of that. Fiverr's like an intermediary. Fiverr will help out. They do have an intellectual property claims department. Okay, and you can find it on the bottom. Like if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, on the bottom left, there's like this things that intellectual property claims. But you'll notice as you go into that, like if someone's using your work and they didn't pay for the stuff and you find it, they'll say, do you have all of the documentation based on your state, your country? Do you have all of that? Like they're not upholding XYZ. According to their terms of service, if somebody purchases something from you, they completely own it through that transaction unless you and the person have otherwise determined something different. So this, and then Fiverr will help, but it's not Fiverr's job because Fiverr doesn't, we're not employees of Fiverr. We're just contractors. Okay. So Fiverr is just contracting us. So it's an interesting thing. And I will say that some countries, some states like California, for a variety of reasons, right? But they're trying to change that law, like some of these laws, because, sites like Fiverr can technically, wash their hands of certain things and claim that it's Fiverr's business, but yet if it doesn't serve Fiverr, then it's, it's our, it's all on our shoulders. I mean, it's we all play this tightrope game. And that's why I say, even though today's Fiverr Friday, I say don't rely on just one platform, right? We want a business that has multiple streams of income so that one platform doesn't control us. But anyways, I digress. my recommendation is, just like I said, Queen Princess, always submit both commercial and broadcast rights with your base price up front. That's what I do every time. Walter, what's up? It's good to have you, my friend. Out of Bounds, hello from snowy Massachusetts. Man, I was watching some of that on the news. That's insane. Be safe out there. 2020. I don't even know what to. At this point, you just got to shake your head. I mean, there's nothing more to be said about 2020. Just hopefully the end comes soon. Tom Johnson, hello. Let's see. Queen Princess, sure, if they needed to buy both, or if buying broadcast rights automatically grants you. No, okay. So it doesn't unless you say it does. All right, and I hope I answered that in the last one, okay? Let's see. Sean Brackett, it would be super hilarious to haggle at the grocery store. I know, right? That would be funny. I'm telling you, we should do, maybe I don't know if I would do that. I'm just saying it would be funny to see someone be like, yeah, I don't think I want to, that toilet paper, I mean, I really need that brand, but I don't want to pay that price. I'm thinking, can we do 75%? That'd be funny, wouldn't it? And then can we do 50%? And if I like the toilet paper, I'll give you a tip. I'll come back and give you a tip. Isn't that fun? I mean, I just think that's funny, right? I mean, we laugh at that stuff, right? But yet we allow people to do that to us. Remember, though, there's a difference, right? Because that's where people claim the service business is different from a product. But I like to do my best to take voiceovers and turn it into a product. Don't forget, the voiceover itself, the MP3 file becomes your product. Your business, okay, you are in the business of customer service. Those are different things, okay? So I try to look at it that way, but I just think that would be funny if we were going into grocery stores and doing that. I wonder what they would do. Lee, when you include commercial and broadcast rights in a custom offer, are you just stacking your prices on top of whatever you'd be charging for the word count? Yes. So like, for example, if someone orders 70 words from me, the base price is $30 plus $35 for my commercial rights, which is $65, and then another $60 for my broadcast rights, which is $125. So I would send them a custom offer for $125. Daniel Smith, a buyer that needs your voice for a YouTube channel, is that considered full broadcast rights or commercial? Also, a bulk order for 10 videos. Do you charge rights for each video or want a fee? Great question. So this is definitely going around. I don't know, someone did a video somewhere on how to get, voice actors to do bulk rates for really cheap for bulk videos or whatever. Because I see this a lot. So technically, every single video that you do, they have to purchase rights for every single video. If they are just uploading that video on their channel and not broadcasting it, right? Meaning they're not broadcasting it by buying ads, pre-roll ads on YouTube or whatever, then it would just be commercial rights. But technically, they need to buy the rights for each one. Now, this goes back to me saying again, though, this is your business, which means you have the option of deciding whether you want to charge them one buyout rate for the package of 10, which is probably, which is I would do as a deal. But what happens is these people usually when they're doing that, they want to try to get the cheapest price as possible, right? But remember, a lot of them are making a killing on these videos too. But it goes back to what you are willing to do for your business. So I probably should have put this up front. It's very important that you have this written down somewhere, or how your policy, what's your policy for this? You know what I mean? Don't let it just magically catch you off guard. It might the first time, but what's your policy? When this happens to you, have a policy for it. Say, hey, I do this work all the time. This is what I charge. Okay, and this is how it works. I'm even willing to be in a long-term contract with you. Here's some papers. I'll send it over to you. You know what I mean? I'll mail it to you if you could sign it and send it back. You know what I mean? And you could even have them, say, hey, for 10 videos, they're going to pay you X, Y. Like, you can make it where you can make your business the way you want it to be. Okay, remember that. So, I think that this is a very common thing. A lot of times people will just want to buy the amount of words for those videos, get a deal on the words, not pay for any extra. And because they're looking to, pay as little as possible too. So in the end, it's going to be your decision whether to take that deal or not. Do I think you should or shouldn't? I think it's up to you and where you are in your business. If you don't have any other options and you're doing nothing but sitting on your hands and twiddling your thumbs or whatever and doing nothing, I mean, might as well take the deal, unless it's outrageous, unless it's crazy. But you know what I mean? You got to get business somehow, and you got to get started somehow. I did some ridiculous things when I first started. I mean, like crazy stuff that I would never and never in a million years do now. But I did when I started because I didn't have people knocking down my door like they are now. I mean, it's supply and demand of economics, right? I mean, that's how the world works. It's how our life works. The more you understand that, the better you can run your business. Let's see. Daniel says, a buyer that needs your voice. Oh, we just did that one. Sorry. Lee said, would you also talk a bit about your how to make $20,000 on Fiverr course, what it covers? Yeah, absolutely, Lee. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. So, and I didn't even tell you guys, I'm so excited. I'll talk about that, but I just finished last night completing my voiceover marketing 101 course. It is by far, I would say my Fiverr course is definitely that has been my flagship course, but this marketing course is I'm so excited. I poured my heart and soul into this with like templates and maps and tracking sheets and a clear plan, detailed and visually. I show so many things visually with infographics and things, and it's available now on VO's Journey. But I'm so excited about the Marketing Plan 101. It covers Fiverr, but it covers a whole range of different marketing techniques and from different phases. It's really wonderful to help you build a six-figure business. But anyways, I just had to say that because I was so excited about that course, because it's been a while since I've come out with a new course, and that one is by far one of the best ones I've ever created. But how to make a $20,000 on Fiverr course. I made that course I wanted to show literally step by step how you just start a gig, an account from scratch, and then how you do each gig, like literally step by step. I mean, from the first from the first page to the second page, right? Starting a gig everywhere from your title, everything to your tags, to your descriptions, to your pricing, to your demos, to getting work on Fiverr. That is still the flagship course that I have, and I recommend it to anyone. If you are a veteran on Fiverr and you're looking to grow your business, I wouldn't recommend that course. That course is more for people that's why it's $20,000 and not $100,000, right? Because it is made for people who want to get more business, want to get started, or want to grow their business, and they're just still kind of trying to figure out Fiverr. They don't have, their gigs figured out completely yet. They're not getting a lot of traffic. It's a great course. It walks you through everything, a lot of bonus videos on there. And I will be actually updating that soon. So give you a little secret in the insight. I will be updating it soon. So if you do buy it, I don't make you buy it again. I just update it. But anyways, even though it's I've updated a little bit, it's still perfectly viable now, the way it is, than it was a year ago. So I totally recommend that course. I really do. It's a great course, and and a lot of people have bought that course and benefited from it. Thank you, Lee. I appreciate the question. Sean, is there a good place to get really good descriptions of the differences, requirements of commercial and broadcast rights? I'd love to have a good way to explain it in my gig or in any messaging to potential clients. Yeah, absolutely. Look at my gig. You can look at my gig, or you can look on Fiverr's terms of service. Okay, but look at my gig and my explanations and what I talk about. But also, I mean, really, in the end, please purchase commercial rights if you plan to use this voiceover for any business purposes. That's what I say, for any business purposes that are non-paid channels. That's what I say this is important, because those words do matter as I see what you're trying to say. They matter so much, right? So if you use these for any business purposes, okay, that sends a clear message that, okay, I'm just using this, if it's for my business, I still need to buy this, right? Because a lot of times you'll get this is for internal purposes. Okay, so if somebody says it's for internal purposes, well, what internal purposes are you talking about? Okay, if they are internal, like they're doing e-learning, okay, which a lot of times that's what internal means, well, then a lot of times we might have a different pricing for e-learning as in the industry. And that's why e-learning is charged differently, because e-learning is for internal purposes. And many people a long time ago realized that they couldn't sell their intellectual property rights, okay, like for broadcast rights for internal purposes. So they had to change that pricing. So they upped the pricing. Again, I'm a weirdo, but I just charge everything the same because I don't want to worry about it. But if, I do have by the way, on my website at vosjourney.com, I do have a pricing guide. If you're just starting out or you don't know how to price these different things, you can go on there, and it's the rate guide for, things like e-learning and audiobooks and commercials and non-paid and paid. I put that together off a lot of research I did, really focusing on beginner, middle of the way, and then expert. I try to give 3 different offerings, so that's a good place to go for that. But I would look at it. I would definitely look at it that way. And then when I say broadcast rights, I usually say, if you you need to purchase broadcast rights if you plan to pay for any advertising using my with my voiceover, okay, or it's any paid advertising, like a TV commercial, radio commercial, or an ad on social media, on any social media, right? Okay. Or Spotify. See, like they can pay, remember, they can pay everywhere now. Like for example, the deal I did yesterday for this show, all right, to do a trailer for this movie is, they license for Hulu, license for Spotify. It was pretty good. It was a really awesome deal. Spotify, Hulu, and a bunch of other different places, because there's so many places to buy ads on now. But you're not going to get people, a lot of people aren't going to do that. That's going to be a bigger company that's going to do that. When we're starting off, it's just important to make sure we understand how to say it, just like you're asking, Sean. So I would say use what I just said, or go to my page, and you can literally take my FAQs. You can copy it. I'm fine with that, and that's not a big issue. Okay. Tom says, how many clients come back to pay your full rate after getting a huge break on their first job? Sorry, first off, Gibson, thank you, man. Sorry, I was just scrolling down. I really appreciate it. Thank you for that super chat, man. That $5, I really appreciate it. Means the world to me. Thank you. I really do. Thank you for that. Thank you. Let's see what I was getting back to. Tom was saying, how many clients come back to pay your full rate after getting a huge break on their first job? Do they often move on to someone else? Maybe, Tom. I mean, they might move on to somebody else, but at least I have gotten the work, and they have known that, it's not going to be, it's amiable. Does that make sense? Here's what I've learned. If you don't set some sort of expectation, they will take advantage of you over and over and over again. And then they will argue with you and treat you really badly if you go back on what you said. Do you see what I mean? So like, I find that a lot of times, now remember, this was when I was starting. I don't have that issue now. I literally have people who will pay me, and they will come back and buy the rights from me after the job's already been done, because they want to buy the rights in order to do their to broadcast it, because they've decided that they want to use that. A lot of times, remember, people are buying from us to, and so there are a lot of video production houses who are simply buying from us to use to send to their clients for what's possible. And if they choose your voice, okay, they could possibly pay you or not. Okay, so it's not just someone who's buying your voice just for their products. It could be video production houses, solopreneurs doing the same thing we are, trying to get, good rates for things. So I find that I would rather set that expectation, Tom, than to keep working with people who refuse to pay it. Okay, yeah. So, but in all fairness, I don't have a number. I don't track it. I track a lot. As you'll see, and with the new course too, I track a lot, but I don't track that. I don't track, someone buys from me, they don't buy rights, and then do they come back? I don't track that. That would be an interesting thing to know, though. All right, Zach, what's up, my man? Good to have you. Jeffrey Baker, all right, is there a ratio of views to clicks that we should be shooting for? Okay, so there is no specific rate that's like published by Fiverr, but I have my own rates. I like to keep the clicks to impressions. I like to keep that between 4 to 8%. Okay. And I would say that the order rate to clicks, all right, I like to try to keep within 1 to 3%. If I could do that, that's pretty impressive for me. All right, that's pretty impressive. Some people, that it seems near impossible. Now, if you'll notice on your phone, on the app, okay, you'll notice that it on the bottom of the app, it tells you impressions, clicks, and then percentage. And usually it's at 0. It ticks up every once in a while. You'll see something. That's how much like jobs you actually do to impressions. Okay, so, and I think that number itself is actually a very good number too, because in the end, right, that gives you an idea. But the clicks to impressions also tells you whether or not, remember, impressions are whether you're being found in the algorithm. Clicks are whether people are clicking on, like your thumbnail is enticing them enough to click on you, or your pricing. And then their purchasing is whether they like your voiceover, they like what you're offering, your FAQs and all that stuff matches what they're looking for, then they buy from you. But those are the percentages I look for. About 48% of clicks to impressions, and about 1% is what I'm shooting for when it comes to actual jobs to clicks. Okay, if I can reach that. Now, does that change? Yes, it changes. It goes back and forth. Can it go 1 up to 3%? Sure. But when it comes to jobs per impressions, like I'm looking for literally 0.01 to 2%. If I like 0.03 to 4%. If I can get that for jobs to impressions. So what does that tell you, though? That tells you something really. This is why I love Fiverr, though, because of the numbers. No other site gives you this. That should tell you in general about your business how much we have to reach out to people, how many people we have to get in front of to get work. See, Fiverr uses that data, and they use the data to grow their business, not, just what they feel. And that data, we can use it too. Meaning that, if you go into emailing campaign, or you go into social media, or you go into phone calls, or you go into posting, blog, whatever you're doing, wherever you're trying to get work from, however you're trying to do it besides Fiverr, all right, you should take in consideration that you're going to have to get in front of a lot of people in order to get work. And it's the people who understand that, who can get themselves in front of more and more and more people, they're going to get more work. Then you can say, okay, well, then can I get in front of the right people? So anyways, that's my percent. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but that's my percentages that I use. Gibson, again, thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate that. Let's see. You said, Gibson said, used an incognito window, typed in my tags, got them off of your vid course. Cool. Nice. And only showed up on one of the tags. Shouldn't I at least show up as the last gig on the last page, only 8 pages? Yeah, so a couple things on that one, Gibson. So first off, thanks, man, for watching that and doing that. Yes, if you're not showing up, there's either something going on. It's either that, the algorithm is not reading what you have, okay, which means that something's not working there. It could be that you're not showing up and you need to contact. When I was first starting out, I'm not kidding you, and I've said this a couple times, I contacted customer support a lot. Actually, it was the summer of 2018, and you all know this story, right? I went to Alaska. I put my account on hold, right? I put it on vacation mode, and I wish I'd never put it on vacation mode, but I put it on vacation mode, totally destroyed my business. I came back 2 weeks later. I had no business. I was making about a couple $1,000s a month at that time. I had no business when I came back. And I was so angry, and because I'd done this work, I'd worked 1.5 years on the platform, tried to make it go, started to pick up momentum, and it totally decimated. And basically, I literally started just experimenting and trying all stuff on Fiverr as I could. I mean, just everything to get business. But one thing I did a lot of was Fiverr's going to be like, Anthony, stop telling people to contact us. But I contacted Fiverr a lot. I said, hey, listen, I just did this thing. I'm not showing up. I have a gig. I can't find my gig. What is going on? Sometimes it was their fault. Sometimes it was my fault. But I got feedback to the best of the ability that I could get at that time from them. You know what I mean? And I just worked. So my recommendation, Gibson, is ask. Say, go, send them a request and say, hey, listen, I can't find myself. Can you is there a reason why? They'll tell you a couple things. It could be generic, like, hey, it could be your cache on your computer. A lot of times they'll say it's your you're searching on your whatever using, like you're using Google Chrome or whatever, whatever search company you're using. They say all kinds of, or they can say, yeah, we're having an issue, or we just reset it. I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many times I did this and magically my gig showed up. I'm telling you, a lot of times I think they have to reset it. They can reset like your gig or whatever, you know what I mean, and erase the cache on their end, and it helps. It helps your gig. Okay, because remember, it's a website too. I mean, they've got issues. They've got loads of people on that site. They've got to do all the work that any other major company with lots of traffic have to do as well. So don't be afraid, Gibson, to contact them. Let's see. Scott, what's up? Hello from Northern California. Hey, Scott, how you doing, my friend? Good to have you, sir. Andy, let's see. Afternoon from Sharnwood, UK. Awesome, Andy. It's great to have you. Good to have you, sir. Let's see. Greg. Hello, Greg. Good to have you, my friend. Jeffrey. By views, I mean impressions. Okay, so, right. So that's, we talked about that. Let's see. Justin posted. Oh, thank you, Justin. You posted a link to the voiceover rate guide. Absolutely. Look, I put a lot of research into that rate guide, so it's very helpful. I tried to make a rate guide for like us. I'm not saying the rate guide on the GVAA or what's the other one? The other one on Gravy for the Brain. They aren't good guides, but they're guides for like, I don't know, super men and women or something in another universe. Because the prices no one charge. I mean, like, you don't get those prices. So I took the information and the research I did with them, and then research I did with other companies. You know what I mean? I talked to actually CEOs and stuff. I put a lot of research into that, so I think it'll be helpful to you. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate that. All right, let's see. JB Music. I've really loved the content, and I'm enjoying getting caught up in the other podcast. Thank you. I'm relatively new and was wondering how or if you can manipulate your samples from jobs you complete. Okay, so I know what you're talking about. Yeah. This is how it goes, right? And unless you sign an NDA, just like the terms and service on Fiverr, there's nothing that you can't do with that voiceover. You know what I mean? Like, promote yourself with it. There can be frustrations and anger if someone tells you, hey, please don't use that. Then just be agreeable and say, no problem. But for the most part, people don't care. And by the way, just like signing an NDA or intellectual property, once it goes public, none of that stuff matters. Right? Because the whole point of an NDA, too, is to keep something under wraps before it's released. But once it's released in the public, same thing with the law, right? That's why NDAs and things like that happen, or you reach an agreement for intellectual property and keeping it quiet. Once it goes public, okay, once it's leaked to the public or it's published, none of that matters anymore, right? Because then because it's in the public domain. So that doesn't mean they own it. It just means that you don't have to not use it or talk about it. You see what I mean? So when it comes to voiceovers, I'll use voiceovers for samples all the time. Absolutely. Okay. But being a courteous business owner, it would be beneficial for you to politely ask. Right? Legally, yes, it's fine. This is where the internet and all the gray area comes in on the internet. Legally, it's not a big deal unless they're willing to, go after you with really high-priced lawyers, and then it's just fees that'll kill you. But and that's getting way off the topic. I would say that just to protect yourself, just say, hey, thank you so much. Would you mind if I, promote this voiceover that I did? Or, do you mind if I use this video? You can do that. That would be helpful to help you erase any of those worries. Okay, so Lee says, what? Yeah, we just did that. No, we didn't. So Lee says, what are some ways you marketed yourself through Fiverr when you first started? Thanks, great question. So when I first started, I thought that there was no way in the world I would ever do commercials. Like, I literally thought, I'm never going to do commercials. I'm never going to do these video commercials. I'm never going to do movie trailers or anything like that. Now, ironically, that's literally 95% of all I do is commercials, movie trailers, because that's what I booked yesterday was a movie trailer. And it blows my mind of the differences. So when I first started on Fiverr, I did audiobooks. That was a really big part of my business was audiobooks. People, if you don't know, people are pay top-notch prices for audiobooks on Fiverr. Okay, that's a little, a secret if you're not, if you don't know. But I did character voices. I loved character voices. That was an evil character voices. So basically Halloween at the time, no one was doing like Halloween type voices really. So I, came out with this gig because I was like, I'll do voices, because, I could do crazy laughs. It's like, and all this kind of stuff, right? Because I'm a nut like that. And, I got a lot of work. People were paying me to do stuff for their haunted houses. I mean, I got work from people doing, marching bands who were doing stuff, for their Halloween marching band shows. I got stuff from people doing Dungeons and Dragons, and they wanted me to do a voiceover for their group, and I just got all kinds of work through this Halloween gig. Then of course that caught on, and more people do that now, which I recommend, although Halloween is tomorrow, which happy Halloween everyone. But I think that I started off by playing to my strong suits, which was not commercial work. I didn't go after the main stuff because there was no way I was going to compete against people like me right now. There's no way without the credibility that I have at this moment, right? Because I have thousands of orders now through under my belt on Fiverr, whereas when I first started, I didn't. So I also implemented using buyer's requests a lot. Now, I will tell you that that's changed. Fiverr changed it. When I was first starting off, everyone got to see all the buyer requests. Now, I guess I could kind of understand it, but now Fiverr has eliminated that. So when you're just starting off, you only see a couple buyer requests a day. I still think that you should use buyer requests. It is very beneficial to your business, and you should do that very often. That's a good way to do it. And remember, people there are looking for voiceover artists. So even if they're not looking for you exactly, they might know someone who's looking for you or might need you next week. So it's a great place to go to get business. But that's how I target. And I also did a lot of social media stuff in the beginning and linking back to my Fiverr gigs. I did that too because I didn't really have a website, and then my website sucked and all that kind of stuff. So definitely, that's some of the things I did in the beginning. But I would say one of the biggest things you can do is make sure your gigs are as good as they can be. Make sure you have up all of your gigs, all 7 of them. When you're starting off, when you're level 0, you get 7. When you're level 1, you get 10. When you're level 2, you get 20. When you're top rated seller, you get 30. Make sure you have up all of your gigs. Okay, unless you're making more money than you can handle, in which case, stop putting up gigs like I do. I don't want to put up any more gigs. So I hope that helps. Let's see. Gibson, I'll keep on them. Good, man. Anthony says, just to clarify, Anthony. I love that. Yes, Anthony. Just to clarify, Anthony, once a project is released, it is not in the public domain. It is under the copyright, but the NDA may not apply since the project is available to the general public. Anthony, thank you for the clarification in the words, and it is very important to use the correct words. When I said public domain, I did not mean what public domain actually stands for, what Anthony is saying here is in the early 20s, right? A lot having to do with actually Walt Disney. That's where we get the copyright laws we have now in the United States. Okay, so pre the early 1920s, there is, that's where things in the public domain come. What I was simply saying was what he mentioned here. When it goes out into the general public, your NDA will not be really needed anymore. Does that make sense? Thank you for that clarification, Anthony. Just don't want you to get in trouble for potentially furnishing legal advice. I appreciate it. Sean, what's buyer requests? I'm new with VO on Fiverr. Sure, Sean. So on Fiverr, there's a more tab, and then under that more, so up on the top ribbon, you've got all these different things like messages, your gigs, etc. All the way to the right to the end, before you see your little name, there's a more tab on the top ribbon. If you click that, there's a thing that says buyer request. Basically, it's a place on Fiverr that people can go and post their own jobs that they have. Just like Upwork, where people post jobs and then we go and send them proposals. Well, it's a similar place. It's like a meeting board, right? Like a posting board for jobs. Does that make sense? So that's where people post jobs, and we can go and bid on those jobs. It's another great way to get business from people who are looking for business. We can actually meet up with them directly. Make sense? All right, listen, thank you guys so much for being today. This was a really good session. Great questions. I really appreciate it. Happy Halloween. If you get a chance, please like and subscribe. Send this to whoever you think needs to see it. As always, I appreciate you. And by the way, just so you know, like I said, I just came out with Voiceover Marketing 101, how to get clients on a VO's journey. I'm so excited. It's already starting to sell, and I can't wait if you get a chance to try it out and to get that course. I know you'll absolutely love it, and it will help your business. It's exactly the marketing plan I use now, and I teach to my students. So I know you're going to love it. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you. You have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you soon. All right. Bye-bye.